So what are some of the predictions that you've made, or the plans that you've made, looking into the future, that you've been proud of as a business owner, as a farmer, that maybe other people didn't see coming?
Well, at looking ahead, I use some common sense to look ahead and try to arrive at decisions that made sense to me, but were based on certain facts that I was aware of. The reason I chose grapes was that wine has been around for thousands of years, and I think it's going to be around forever for consumers to enjoy. In the late 40s and after the war, and the grape prices went down to $20 and $30 a ton, and I had a small vineyard and I wanted a farm, I found economically I would have to do something else, so I was retained by a large ranch as a manager of hops and pears. And I went in there with the management skills that I had even at the young age of 20-something, and began advocating that we would take out the hops and pears gradually and plant the grapes. And that was very difficult to do, because if you penciled out a grape vineyard at those prices, it wouldn't work. So we farmed pears and grapes, and pears and hops, and then the farmer just economically couldn't continue in those, so he decided to plant prunes, which I disagreed with. And the neighbor came over and had a hop field, and I recommended that he would plant grapes too, and he said, well, it wouldn't work. And I said, well, it doesn't work today, but it will work in the future, because I believe that grapes and wine have a future, where I'm not sure about the pears and the hops and the prunes. Well, as it worked out, in the last 50 years, there are no more pears and hops in our valley. It's all grapes. To the extent that grapes were so well, from a profit standpoint, that everybody planted them. And that has caused somewhat of a competition for growers that have to watch their costs and still be profitable. We're fortunate because we planted our vineyards a long time ago at low cost, and we don't have any large debt to service, so we can handle situations where prices are not as good as they should be. In 1960, I was working for the Bank of America as an advisor in Ukiah, California, my hometown, and they had a meeting there, and they asked me what I thought about the future for agriculture in the valley was. And at that age, I was only about 30-some years old, I said that all the hops and all the prunes in Napa Valley would come out and go to grapes. And there were a lot of them. 50% of the valley was hops and pears and prunes. All the hops and pears and prunes in Sonoma County would come out to go to grapes. And half of those in Mendocino County would go out and go to grapes. And the reason I said half in Mendocino County, because Mendocino County pear orchards produced 30, 40 ton an acre, and they were very competitive and profitable. One of the managers for the Bank of America asked me what I was smoking to make a prediction like that. But in the last 40 years, that's all happened. So it's not wisdom, it's just using common sense, I think.
And you moved from what are called fighting varietals to individual varietals as well.
Yeah, I moved from standard jug wine varieties, standard Vin Ordinaire, Carignan, Sauvignon Blanc, Vert, Chenin Blanc, Chasselas, Golden Chasselas, and Colombard. Those varieties were used to make Vin Ordinaire and gallon wines, and were sold for 59 cents a bottle by the large winemakers, Gallo and Petri. At one time, Gallo and Petri, Italian Swiss Colony and Petri, sold 62% of all the wine sold in the United States. Two companies. I was aware of that. I knew those. And if you went into a marketing store where the wine was on the shelf, they were selling for 59 cents a bottle.